But I think during COVID-19, a lot of Dhamma practitioners start to feel that, hey, actually, we can lead a very simple life. Just like Karana Metta Sutta said, Santu Sakocha Subarocha. So, contented, living simple, yeah, with few duties, yeah, and then not too attached, yeah, to family matters, yeah, means we care but not attached, yeah, and in that way, we also restrain our senses, yeah, and then we'll be able to practice well towards nibbana. So that simplicity, I think COVID-19 has taught a lot of people that we can actually live very simple. Just like maybe Nandika have experienced, last time Theravada Samaneri program, suddenly you realize, hey, everything can be very simple. So all the cookery or whatever it is, can be simple. No need to like particular to prepare this plate, that plate, don't know what kind of plate, what shape, for eating. Eating is for what purpose? To maintain this body, to carry on, to what? For what? The Buddha said, to inhibit annoyance, because hunger can annoy you a lot. To inhibit annoyance and to assist in spiritual life. And then that is the purpose, so we don't make life so complicated. But I think the West, they are very good at that. They promote a lot of things, marketing a lot of things. So the more you have, that is what economy is all about. To satisfy unlimited wants. Don't get trapped. So what we need is actually very simple, the 4 requisites. Yeah? And from there, when we have time, we plow in the time for learning the Dhamma, practicing the Dhamma. All right? So when we say practice means wholesome one, cultivate more lah. Unwholesome one, relinquish. So easy, just let go the unwholesome one, right? But a lot of times when we say, think too much, but still thinking. Think until migraine, think akan sakit kepala, think until kena makan ubat, still want to think. Just relinquish. Actually, to practice the Dhamma is not so difficult, but then you can see, who is the culprit behind? Craving, attachment, clinging. Those are the ones. So if you can detect and you can actually relinquish those things, you'll find your life, your world is so beautiful, so easy to maneuver. You have less and less the selfishness, the self-idea, the I-ness, I, my mind. Yeah, because as you relinquish, actually it's not because of the what they call the thing, but it's because of our ignorance. Yeah, our self-idea is so strong. Yeah. And then next, because of that, we crave to have for mind, I, my mind. Right? So it's from the learning and then the relinquishment, then you have higher discernment. Yeah? Higher discernment means this is where wisdom come in. Wisdom come in will know that, this is the Dhamma that leads to uplift the mind. This is the Dhamma. And this is a deeper Dhamma, more profound Dhamma when we say purify one's mind. That comes to the Noble Eightfold Path. So most of the part that we do is Sila, or we say virtue. Then we learn some Dhamma. And then the next 3 very important one is, we said the right effort. Just now we said effort to put down the unwholesome one, effort to bring up, maintain the wholesome one. And the persistently we do it. Right? The next is basically on the mindfulness. So when we do that again and again, our right effort is there, then naturally your mindfulness become more heightened. You're more aware of things. Yeah, and specifically, of course, the Satipatthana, Mahasatipatthana is a one way that the Buddha said that if a person can cultivate that consistently and correctly, it also leads to Nibbana. Yeah? So what are they? We know that there are 4 main things to understand and realize the wisdom of this body, the feeling, the mind, and the Dhamma, the phenomena of the mind. So if we are able to cultivate and realize the direct knowledge of what this mind and body is about and how to free them from entanglement of the suffering, then start with ignorance. So when we have direct knowledge, ignorance is gone. So when you see, that's why you experience the calmness or the happiness, through your cultivation. Then when you experience that, you know, but very difficult to tell people, right? Because if they have not experienced, they will not know. You may describe Musang King as don't know how creamy, how nice, or if a person have not eat Musang King, then they won't know what you're trying to say. Same. When you cultivate your mind, when you realize the direct knowledge of what it means, let's say the samadhi, let's say, because it's beyond your thinking. So how would another person understand? Yeah, until you cultivate. That's why again you see when you recite Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo, is for those wise one to be realized. Means the wise one who cultivate the mind will realize. Because it doesn't come just like that. So this part we need to cultivate and to give time to cultivate. Yeah. So discernment is where your mind will very quickly know when it's unwholesome. It's already like default mode in your mind. Yeah, that this is unwholesome. Unwholesome means harmful, dangerous. Yeah, it will bring down the mind. So as you straight, when you see this just a robot programming, you say da 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 means no, relinquish, delete. Yeah, I think this is okay. Increase, then add some more effort, right? So same thing. So our mind, if you train, then it will come to a stage like that one. They see the things they can embrace, not just physical, but the energy field or whatever they know. Yeah. So this knowing, where we call wisdom, as you cultivate to the higher stage, it become a default mode already. Yeah. So you don't have to like very difficult. At the beginning, yes, you need so because you are polishing. Let's say like people say polishing. Let's say a mirror. As long as it's not up to that level of polish that you can see yourself, then means the reflection is still not clear. So one day, if you can polish accordingly until it become a mirror, it won't turn back to become the earlier stage where you cannot see yourself blunt. But when you are polished, then finally it become a mirror. Then you can already see it very clearly. Yeah. So I hope that this important message to practice the Dhamma, I say, conviction to the Dhamma is there are stages of practice, gradual practice. And we have to know what it is and how to go about it, and then put it into practice. And then after that, we have the reflection on it. And then good one, we continue. Not good one, we let go. And that is how we purify our mind. Yeah, purify is just like that. Yeah, as you do, keep going to do. And so that's why the bhavana is so important, to hopefully one day, as the consistency of practice heighten up to, let's say, you realize Samma Samadhi, that is where you start to have that knowledge. This is what we call body. Yeah, the body that we understand so hard, then you start to realize, the body is not as what we see. This is only conventionally a combination of a conditional coming together of so many beings, so many kinds of cells, even so many kinds of beings coming together into this, and it is not as what we think forever and ever, but every day is changing. Every day there are some born, there are some die, millions of them, but through our gross, blunt mind, we cannot understand that. But now, actually, through science, we can see, we can understand, but still we are blunt, we cannot understand, right? But through meditation, you will see directly for yourself, and then you will realize that, hey, this body is not what I think, This body is elements, and these elements, when it is become refined and pure, and then it's just energy, and then the realization of who am I, the I that we always think, I, where is it? You cannot find, So if you can understand that, then you say, so then what is the next thing? If it's not I, then the way when we perceive it as I, then we are trapped. Then we will suffer. But once you understand that, means you will start to relinquish things already. Your heart also you will relinquish because no point already to grab so much thing. Just the basic needs, the need for functional purpose, that's good enough. Right? So then we don't spend time all the time to chase after material things. Yeah? Of course, we need earning for our living, but we do not have to chase after all the material things because we cannot bring. The only thing that we can bring, the Buddha say, is our karma. Karma is my inheritance. I'm the heir of the karma. It's from karma that I'm born, And karma is my relation. And karma is my protection. So whatever karma means, good or bad, and to that we are the owner. So we own nothing but our karma, means our thought action, speech action, bodily action. So if we know, then when we have conviction to the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, then definitely we will be able to live a life, the Buddha said, happy here and now and happy hereafter. And if we are diligent enough, then of course the Buddha said, happy forever and ever. And no need to have birth and death anymore. All right, so I offer this for your contemplation today, and so that everyone can also be convicted to walk the Dhamma's path. So every day, check your mind. If you say, oh, today, Adama still got 70, means got to work harder. If Adama 50, good, give yourself a pat. Okay, tomorrow do some more, right? Until one day you say, hey, every day I've been living with Dhamma. That is very wonderful, right? So always check. Don't allow say, today also I am 90% Adama. Next 3 months I meet you, how? Also 90% Adama. That means wasted 3 months. Yeah. So some wasted 30 years old. So we have to check every day because this journey, we come by ourselves, we go also alone. Yeah. So we have to understand so that we have to learn to protect and learn to free our mind. All right. So thank you very much for your attention. So when we say learning the Dhamma, practice the Dhamma, the Buddha always said gradually. So gradually, so first, of course, you don't hit another human, right? Even they annoy you, do you hit them? No. Why? So you know it's unwholesome, right? So, but human, you don't do it, right? Because why? So you are worried about the karmic impact. Okay, so that's very good realization, right? Yeah, so you see, big one, we start first with the people to people. Then after that, gradually we understand. When we say, okay, the law of karma. So at the beginning, we can see, we don't realize. But as you practice, you start to realize the subconscious mind, means the underlying tendency of our habitual mind.